Hey y'all, welcome back to the Baltimore City Youth Impact Podcast. Today we're starting a new topic, which is how do we move from trauma and begin our healing? So, who wants to start?
So one of the things that I feel like we can begin to do to really start healing and really get on the path to just becoming better people overall is definitely therapy and just making sure that we taking care of our mental health. A lot of times in our community, when it comes to mental health, it just always seems to get this backlash. Nowadays it's kind of changing a lot more. Like, people are more aware, more self-aware that they have endured traumas and things like that, but it's still that stigma that they place on our communities when it comes to getting assistance from like a therapist, or just talking to someone and confiding in someone. And these days, especially in the age of social media, where it's like you just see a lot of people just doing well, and the glitz and glam, you just want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. So I feel like a great healthy start is definitely locking in with a therapist, someone that you can trust, someone that is not just a therapist but a relatable therapist, someone that can possibly relate to your situation or relate to what you've been going through. So that's one of the many things that I feel like we should begin to normalize in our communities.
I kind of want to dive deep into how do trauma show up and present itself. I feel like a lot of people don't truly realize how trauma can be passed down generationally. So, whatever your parents or your grandparents went through, although you may not have experienced it yourself, that's still in your blood because trauma can literally alter your DNA. So, and back to the therapy topic, I think therapy isn't accessible for everybody, but starting the healing process with yourself, and that may look like just labeling your feelings, or I don't know, taking one and kind of working backwards to see where it started and where the root comes from.
I think what you just said, like as far as like labeling your feelings, I want to just add on to that, because that has actually helped me, like being able to like actually articulate my emotions and pinpointing what exactly it is that I am feeling. Because a lot of the times I'm not necessarily feeling angry, or I'm not necessarily feeling, you know, frustrated. I might just be a little sad that day, or I might, it could be different reasons. It could be different things. So that's definitely a start. It's just always being able to articulate and figuring out what emotion that you're actually enduring. What is it that you're actually going through? So I like that. That was cool.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I like what both of y'all was saying. A lot of it I really kind of agree on, and a lot of stuff that y'all was touching was actually kind of touching on this word that I kind of want to define for y'all too. It's called generational traumas. So, like you were saying, Selena, stuff like a lot of stuff that our parents and stuff go through, we don't really necessarily get treated for that. We don't get help for that. So,
Hmm.
for them and stuff, we're learning from them, but we aren't really learning from them. If that makes sense, like we're learning their ways, but then we're able to perceive that and then kind of take that in for real.
Yeah, I
That
see
kind of
it as like a a stream that can go both ways. Like we can learn from them in the wrong way and like repeat their patterns, or we can learn from them in the right way and I guess do the opposite. Maybe not the opposite, but going down the right path with it. Um, I think healing our trauma starts with being able to process it and just acknowledge it. A lot of times we have trauma, or we experience something bad, and we just put it in a box and don't worry about it. But a way to like start moving through that is to acknowledge the trauma, reflect and explore it, actually grieve through it, like actually sitting there and feeling your feelings, not holding on to them, but acknowledging them, thinking about it, and then letting it flow like a river. So that goes into feeling it. Also, don't beat yourself up about your trauma. You cannot force yourself into trauma. You can't bash yourself into trauma. You have to love yourself through it. Um, Also, challenging negative beliefs that goes hand in hand. And then seeking support and practicing self-care and self-compassion.
The self-care part, that's like that's like major, especially when it comes to like when you're dealing with trauma. Like, you gotta make sure you take care of yourself, because trauma looks like a lot of different things, right? You can have like the trauma of like Especially within our community, we experience like death a lot of the times. So it's like even with that, with the trauma that comes behind death, it can lead to like depression and sadness, and that's like a whole nother ball game. You're not really taking care of yourself. You're not eating the way you should. You're not getting sleep. You're not,
Yeah.
practicing healthy practices in order to like really overcome it. So I like self-care is major, definitely major. You gotta love yourself through trauma. 'Cause if you don't love yourself through trauma, then how can you expect to be there for the other people in your life who may love you as well? You can't show anyone else love if you can't properly love yourself.
Yeah, no, I kind of, well, not kind of. I really agree with what you were saying for real. I feel like a lot of people, or a lot of people, a part of our generation, are actually trying to get into what self care is and discover that for ourselves. Because, truthfully, generations older than us, they haven't really had that experience or had the luxury of trying to explore what self care
Right.
is. Like I know for my father, he don't really sit there and really dibble and dabble on self care. You'll never see that man talking about something. Oh, I want to go to go to a spa or something like that. He's not going to be that type of person. But his self care for him might be working or something like that. They grew up in like a kind of survival class, so in my opinion and stuff, they wasn't really taught to live and like, okay, let me take a step back. Let me just breathe, relax, de-stress. You know, y'all feel me?
Yeah, I mean, right now more than ever is like where self-care, it feels like self-care matters the most. Cause it's like we're that generation that's like slowly shifting the narrative and slowly changing what it looks like to be a part of this world. So like for us, like self-care has to like literally come first in dealing with trauma. Like, you just got to.
Going back to like rewiring our brains and changing our beliefs, a lot of people view self care as a luxury or something that's only attainable if you work hard and then you give yourself a break. But self care should be all around, no matter even if you're taking a break or you haven't been as productive as you want to. You shouldn't bash yourself and be like, oh, I'm not going to do this to make myself feel better. And going back to how trauma and stress can show up in the body, those things can present themselves physically, not even psychologically. It can change your blood pressure, your stress levels, cortisone. You can develop hypertension and all that. Sleep disturbance,
Acne.
that too, bone mineral loss, cognitive impairment, cancer, heart disease, obesity. So stress and all of that can literally present itself in your life, and that's why I said stress and trauma is passed down by generations.
And just to add on to that, I had a gray hair like a couple months ago. It was like a little strand of gray hair, and I was just like, why do I have gray hair? Like, I'm 25. I should not have a gray hair.
Stress.
But like you said, it show up physically, so that gave me an opportunity to be able to check myself. Like, is the energy around me right? Like, is the things around me going how it should be? Am I in the right thought process? So it's just about recognizing the signs too, recognizing them and doing something about it.
Yeah, say no facts. And that, I'm not even gonna lie, that's kind of one of the things that I've kind of been learning as I've been going through like this whole college experience and stuff like that. Because me being a first year, college, I actually had the experience to go on campus, take classes and stuff like that. And, just do stuff that, people in my family didn't have the luxury or the option to do. But with those opportunities and stuff like that, it definitely presented different stresses and stuff like that, where I couldn't talk to my family and stuff to actually, cope with it, or to actually get people to mentor me and understand. I couldn't look at my mother and father and be like, hey, can you help me with college? Can you help me understand this? Because that was something that they didn't go through. But even with those experiences and stuff like that, I took the time to actually, venture out, expose myself to different, ways to actually like de-stress or to talk to different people to actually help me along that journey and stuff like that.
So what did that process and what did that journey look like for you? Like, what were like some techniques or what were some things that you were able to apply to like really get you through? Because I know how school is. School is hard. It's not for the weak. Like, so you gotta have some type of technique. Nobody is exempt from the stresses that come with school. So
Nah, facts. I swear, it's like you somebody throwing a curveball and you still trying to figure out what direction it's going in. But to actually answer your question for real, some of the things that I actually did, like for one thing, before actually starting college and stuff, I wasn't really religious and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to convert anybody or anything like that, but I actually have been on a path to actually, figure out my own religion, figure out, what religion actually means to me. And
Faith.
yeah, faith, thank you. What my faith is and how I actually like stand on that for real, for real. So that's one thing. I've been doing poetry. I'm actually a poet, I classify myself as a poet. So I write poems and stuff, and I just write stuff in journals and stuff just to get it off my chest or get it off my mind. I kind of consider myself as an overthinker too, so just to have that space to get something out or to read it off on a piece of paper as opposed to just thinking about it all the time, it's something that's kind of uplifting for myself. And then I've worked in different organizations and stuff like that, so just being able to work with kids or volunteer my help to other services and stuff like that has been very therapeutic for myself, giving back to my community. But, that's my answer to your question.
Solid.
For me, my healing journey started first by acknowledging the fact that I had to heal parts of me. And then with that, like I said, like rewiring my beliefs about what healing and loving yourself through it looks like. So the way we talk to ourselves is also the way we talk to our child self. So I think, what is it called? Reparenting yourself. Reparenting the child version of yourself is important. Because like you're literally, that's where our beliefs come from. The way we think is from how we was treated as a kid or what we learned as a child. So starting with that, labeling my feelings, and then also recognizing how my trauma and hurt presents itself in other ways. Because a lot of the times we build up walls to like keep ourselves safe, which helped us in the long run, kept us safe in the long run. It was a defense mechanism, but down the road you no longer need it. And realizing that, and like I said, rewiring your brain, doing self-care practices, and realizing self-care is for everyone. It should be for everyone. So for me, I'm not too big on journaling, but sometimes I do it, and sometimes it is helpful. I'm more of just like a clear my space, clear my mind type of person. I like to take a hot bath or whatever, light a candle.
Oh, she ain't got it going on, bougie.
That's not bougie.
No, I'm messing with you.
So let's talk about that. Why do people see self-care as being bougie or like a luxury?
Because I feel like it is a luxury, like to take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I feel like, it's a beautiful thing when you're able to like really de-stress and put yourself in that vibe. But everybody de-stress differently.
Right.
I wasn't calling you bougie per se, but it's fancy, like from my perspective.
To take a bath and light a candle?
Yeah, I mean, that's fancy. Like,
Yeah,
Okay.
I was going to say, it wasn't really glorized. And it was like, once I turned 13, I wasn't able to fit in the tub anymore. So
right.
baths was kind of obsolete for me. But even with that, to actually like put my own opinion on your question for real, I feel like it isn't really glorized in our communities and stuff like that. Us coming from a community where you working literally 5 days a week, 6 days a week. You got that one day off.
You gotta work.
You gotta work. So when are you really focusing on self-care? That other day, you either going to an appointment, you helping I put 2 fingers up. Oh.
Nice.
You either going to an appointment, you helping out with the family. You doing something. Right. So it's like we aren't really worried about self-care. We more so worried about surviving, living paycheck to paycheck for real.
So let's get into that. Because you can be surviving and doing everything you can, but also prioritizing self-care. I believe self-care as a person of color is radical because every system in place is going against your well-being. So when you actually be like, I know I don't have the resources to go to therapy. I don't have the resources to buy the fancy stuff to make me feel good, but I do have 5 minutes of my day to sit down and breathe. I do have 5 minutes of my day to turn everything off and just sit in silence. That's radical because every system doesn't want you to do that. They want you to continue to work yourself to death, continue to be in survival mode, until your body gives up. And I think going back to how trauma and stress can present itself in your body, listening to your body is very important also when it comes to self-care and healing. For me, I know those feelings show up in like my neck pain, my back pain, and like joint pains. So exercising, stretching, yoga is also a simple thing that doesn't require any material.
I want to add to that, right? Because you said like, like you got 5 minutes to breathe. You know what I'm saying? Like just to sit in silence, meditate. And I'm not against like meditation and stuff like that. And just like being able to like, be more in tune with yourself. But one of the things that I've learned is that some people have endured so much trauma to the point where though they can't really sit with themselves. Because they have already endured so much. I've seen, that's one of the things that I was able to see. And it's like it's all in the prison systems. Like it's all in, the justice system. People go crazy sitting in the cell with themselves. Some people come out that cell and they be like a genius. They be like, I got a whole plan. I'm about to go home. I'm about to get rich. I'm about to be on a whole nother level. But it's like, it's still the side where it's like some people just literally can't sit with themselves that long or can't really sit in their thoughts because their trauma is just so deep.
I think all practices are different depending on the person. So sitting in silence is not for everybody.
So
sitting still is not for everybody. I believe everybody has some type of gift or some type of outlet that they like or they love. And actually doing those things, once again, is radical. This economy, this society doesn't want you to feed into your creative abilities because they just want you to work to death. But if you know you're good at, or if you love painting, you love drawing, like you said, you like to do poetry, you like to write, that's your creative outlet. And it's not necessarily sitting in silence, it's not being still, but also for people that like to dance, you turn on some music and just dance for 10 minutes and you feel like some stress has been lifted off of me. I feel better. I got those jitters out. So it looks different for everybody. And for self-care in America has been like put into a box. This is a list of things you have to do in order for it to be self-care. That's not self-care. Self-care is whatever you make it be.
Mm-hmm. Can I actually ask a question for that too? Because this kind of actually just brought a question up in my head, right? So, do you feel like as you get older, and I'm gonna actually tell a story on this too, because I just thought about this, right? So, do you actually feel as though as you get older, do you start to value the smaller things less, right? And the reason that I said that is because
Elaborate.
I'm ready to elaborate. So, when you was talking about like basically people honoring their hobbies and worrying about like doing poetry, singing, dancing, and stuff like that, right? So let's say like I remember being a kid and stuff like that, right? Every time I would get in the shower, I would always, listen to music. I would bump the music and I would be singing to the top of my lungs in the shower, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as I got older and stuff like that, I kind of noticed that as I started to stress more or I had more problems and stuff like that, that wasn't really something I kind of viewed as a necessity anymore, something that I needed to do. But in my childhood, that was something that always would bring a smile to my face in the beginning of the day. So you get what I'm saying? Like, you get the question?
I get what you're saying. So back to my point with healing your inner child, or just going back like, damn, what did I enjoy as a child? If that's one of the things you enjoyed as a child, that's something you should still enjoy now.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what got you through shit back in the day. It can get you through it now.
Mm-hmm.
And so you said taking a shower isn't seen as a necessity anymore?
No.
No, that's
not. Take a shower. Please take a shower.
I was saying hygiene is everything. I'm saying basically taking a shower with music involved,
Okay.
Basically turning into a party, getting lit, getting crunk. Kinda.
I think self-care has the like bare necessities of it, and that's just simply taking care of yourself, brushing your teeth, washing your face, taking a shower. What else? Feeding yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely that part.
So once again, rewiring your brain. Like sometimes we can be in the mode, oh, I wasn't productive today, so I'm not gonna give myself these things that I know I need. I know it's gonna make me feel better. We have to stop thinking that way, because that's what society tells us to think. Once again, we have to be radical every single day with our actions and dismantle those colonial ways of thinking. So if you have to take care of yourself, then every day those simple list of things need to be checked off. And if you recognize, once again, listening to your body, I need a little bit more today, then that's when you dive into your creative bag. You give yourself some time to think, however it looks for you. That's when you do those extra things. But once again, having those basic things checked off every single day is going to keep you from going under. It's going to keep you from being more drained than if you did do it, if you get what I mean.
So I want to speak on that. One of the things that we used to always say, like playing football, basketball, like people used to always be like, man, you got all the gear on. We used to always hear all the old heads. You got all this fly gear on, and then you going out on the field, and you can't even do this, and you can't even do that. Just that old head mindset, But I remember being in the locker room, and somebody was like, if I look good, I play good. If I look good, I feel good. Mm-hmm. And then like that just always been in my mind, like just that one thing that person said, and it's just like that's life for real. That's like real. Get up out the bed, move around, work out, do something, make yourself feel good. Go look good. Do whatever it is you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like you said, just take care of yourself.
I feel like before you force yourself or like judge yourself into doing productive things, I say productive like this because who's to say it's productive or not? Making yourself do the basic things should be first.
Prioritize yourself.
Prioritize yourself first, because how can you pour into another cup if your cup is not full already? If your cup is half empty, you cannot worry about checking off all these productive things you have to do. First, you have to fill up your cup. And I know it's different. Let's dive a little bit deep into how healing looks different for men and women, because it's two of y'all here. It's just one of me, but we can get into that more, because I know healing for men or just like acknowledging y'all feelings is way different, right? Exactly. And that's like, that comes from how you're raised, how the group of people you come from is, how society views you, and the stresses and all of that is imposed on you. So I want to hear y'all perspectives.
I remember growing up, like, just being a kid, and, like, I really, like, I love my mother, so, like, I just remember, like, always being up under my mother as a kid. Like, everywhere she went, I wanted to go where she went. Like, I want whatever. Like, I idolized her. Like, she was my caretaker. So I just remember, like, people used to always be telling her, like, stop trying to go up under your mother all the time. Stop trying. And I get that. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like at the same time, whenever I felt bad or whenever like I was going through something, like I wanted to go be up under my mother. I wanted to go get the motherly love and the care that my mother was able to provide for me at that time. And it was just like at an early age, people was trying to like strip that away from me. Like, nah, you gotta be tough. You gotta whatever. You can't be up under her. And it's just so crazy when you think about it. It's like, yeah, I mean, you want to have a balance. It gotta be a balance, right? But at the same time, like at an early age, like that showed me like I ain't really have a safe space. Like the safe space that I did have, it was like society wanted to like
change it.
Yeah, they wanted to change that, and it just was like that was just me. That was just who I was. I could have went to my grandfather. I could have went to my cousin. I had people that I cared about me, who would have gave me like potentially the same type of love, but I wanted to be there. Like, that's just what it is for real. So I just think that, like, in the eyes of society, it's just like you got to have this type of super tough skin being a man, like, when it comes to, like, dealing with your trauma and dealing with your emotions.
Let's get into it deeper. Ben, what kind of man?
A black man. You know what I'm saying? Like, being a black man, that's just what it is. And theoretically, when you think about it, like, we do gotta have this tough skin, because it's like, just due to history and just how things went, it's just like we gotta endure a lot more, so we gotta be stronger than the average person. It's the setup. It's unfortunate, but it's just how things are set up.
Yeah, see, no, that's facts. And I can kind of relate to your experience. Like, my experience growing up, for a large majority of my life and stuff, I grew up with my sister, and being placed into that predicament and stuff, that put me into like a mindset where I had to necessarily be hyper independent a large part of my life growing up. So with that and stuff, I had to figure a lot of stuff out for myself that I feel like a kid in my age didn't have to go through or they didn't have to experience. So it was like, as I got around to me trying to express my emotions and stuff that I didn't know, I felt like a lot of times I would often be like ostracized and I would be, kind of made fun of for the stuff that, would kind of make me want to ask questions, make me want to try to figure stuff out because I'm trying to grow into, a person who can comprehend, who can understand. And for the people around me, they didn't see that as being important. So I didn't really have those spaces to, express my emotions. I didn't have those spaces to, have questions to question the people around me to, understand why they think like that, why they go through these type of things. It took for me to get older for me to actually look back and reflect on certain instances and moments to be like, okay, that's why you were so tough on me. That's why you were so strong because, you didn't know how to express this or you went through this. So this is why you couldn't express, love or say, I love you or, just try to be this affectionate person. For me, I didn't grow up around, an affectionate household. So it was like a lot of stuff was tough love. And when you got love, that was when all of the family came together. If they wasn't all together, then
That's real.
you would get, tough love. And that growing up didn't really teach me affection. It took for me to get to an age for me to realize, okay, I want to break this generational curse and I want to be able to speak about my emotions. I don't want my kids to feel like they don't have a father who can say I love you on a daily, give you a hug and stuff like that, But yeah.
And I will say, like, that's a huge part of, like, the problem today is that people don't know how to express their emotions. They don't know how to articulate it. They don't know how to speak on it. So it's just like a lot of people, because they don't know how to express their emotions, it just lead to, like, people saying the wrong things, violence, a lot of things that we see today, So we definitely got to practice healthy ways in identifying what it is that we're experiencing and what's our emotions versus what's a generational curse or a generational trauma.
Right. I think a huge issue for like a lot of people is not acknowledging that community is important, because we go through all these things growing up and I don't know about y'all, but I was by myself a lot. So I went through the emotions by myself. I labeled stuff by myself. I figured out how to survive by myself. And we tend to carry those things on as adults. But once again, we have to dismantle that, because if it takes a village to raise a child, then it also takes a village to, be a person, be a full person. So I believe certain things should be handled on your own or acknowledged on your own, but community is also very important when it comes to healing stuff. Like finding people that went through the same thing as you or having some type of connection with that and y'all just sit down and talk about it together could get you probably further than you sitting in the mirror and talking about it by yourself. And to go back to the generational traumas, I think we also have to view that a little bit differently. Our ancestors have passed down these generational traumas, but they also passed down generational strengths. So looking at it as it's a balance to all things. It just depends on how you look at it.
I do want to speak on the last statement that you made. Can you reiterate that?
How we have generational strengths as well.
So you was talking about like basically sitting down with like someone that like may have like endured like the same like amount of traumas as you. I feel like that was a great statement to make, like as far as like when it come to connecting with other people like within your community and just being able to get that off your chest. But I also would like to add, you still have to be careful, because a lot of people aren't even aware that what they have going on. So just definitely be aware in what you share with people and how you share it. And it's unfortunate that I gotta say that, right? Because it's just we talking about overcoming the trauma, but it's just
with everything you have to use discernment, whether it's for you or not, or if it's for you at that time or not. Also, depending on who you talk to, you might not want to talk to somebody that has the same traumas as you, because y'all y'all on the same playing field. So, I mean, it's only so much y'all can really help each other out, but just sitting there and being able to talk to a person that relates is just getting it out your mind. You get what I'm saying? It's not going to be healed in one day, for sure, but having a mental clarity like, wow, I'm not the only person that went through that. They went through that too. But say if you do want to have a healing conversation, somebody that has a different point of view who did the healing work or just like might be a professional, then that's how you just decide to move. Whether you want to talk to somebody that is just there to listen or you want to talk to somebody that's there to respond.
Yeah, I like how you actually put that together too, because I'm not gonna lie, I feel like there is a stigma around, therapy, and I feel like our generation should be able to, change that stigma towards therapy and mental health services and stuff like that, because truthfully, a lot of stuff that you was talking about and stuff like that, you can have friends and stuff to talk about, but we got therapists who are well equipped to actually talk about these positions, and I feel like it's a big link, well, not link, a big dislink between our community and just the mental health services and stuff that we might have within Baltimore City or just in other communities around the world and stuff like that. Not a lot of people in our communities look for help like that. We go through stress, we get stressed out, or we go through trauma and stuff like that. Only thing we say is, I'm gonna be with family, I'm gonna figure it out, and that's basically the motto for real.
I think healing is an individual thing and a group thing. So, speaking for my community, Native Americans, if I know we all have the same experience for one generational curse, then that's something we should come together and heal together with, if you get what I mean. Which will also, in the long run, help you with your individual issues. So I think community is definitely a radical start.
I want to say, if there's any young person out there, if you're in Baltimore City and you are in need of any services, mental health services, housing, food, whatever it is, we want to make sure that we can plug you in and connect you to the right resources. So definitely check out our resource guide, the Be More Youth Guide. Check it out. I'm going to make sure it get plugged in right here. But yeah, that's going to be, I'm going to send it to Celine so she can wrap up the show.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast today. See y'all next time.
Peace out.